Welcome to today's meditation time. It is an honor to spend these few minutes with you, whether you're listening live now or you're listening later on. It is an honor to collectively find our way back into this present moment. And so as your body has settled into whatever spot you've chosen for now, just allow your gaze to soften. Allow the muscles in your face to begin to relax. Just check in with your forehead, the muscles across your cheeks, into your jaw, and then down into your shoulders. And just allow yourself to find a little softness physically. And then start to notice your breath. Don't try to control it just yet. Don't try to change it. Just notice. You've brought this breath into this present moment where we are now. It's a reflection of the moments just before, of how busy or not you were, whatever things you've got going on. It's all reflected in the pace of our breath. And so let's use our meditation time in the beginning to really just reset, to find a balance between the in-breath and the out-breath. Maybe finding a little pause in between the two before you breathe it out, or just continuing that nice flow, one into the other. But I would invite you to find a rhythm that reflects you now. Not the busyness of the moments just before this one, but you in your spot with your body settled. Breathe into that space. And over the next several times together, we're going to explore a teaching, a lesson that's given to us by the Dalai Lama that I thought just really is perfect for this time of year where we are. There's always something coming seasonally or holidays or shifts atmospherically. And when change comes, no matter how little or how big it is, we need to have some pillars, some strong posts in the ground that we can really hold on to, the same way that you've settled your body into that spot where you are now. You need anchoring. And so the Dalai Lama has given us what he calls the 8 pillars of joy. And over the next few times that we share space together, I'd like to explore those just one at a time. And so all the way through our time, just maintain the rhythm of breath that you have found that honors the here and the now. And the first pillar, before we share what that is, I'd like to just validate the fact that Mondays come. And you'll understand a bit as we go through the next few minutes. But realistically, chronologically, Mondays come when we wake up after a Sunday. And Mondays kind of have a bad reputation in our week. Sometimes there's a little dread. Sometimes there's a little uncertainty. I don't know what it is about the Mondays that have given them this way of our thinking about them. But I also know that sometimes Mondays come on other days of the week as well. There are other days that there might be a little dread or a little apprehension, a little cloudiness. And so no matter what your day tomorrow holds, I'd like us to use this first pillar of joy that the Dalai Lama has given us as one of our anchors. And throughout our next few times together, we'll continue to establish more pillars so that no matter what day comes next, whether it's a Monday or a calm day or a rainy day, we will have anchors that can take this practice that we have right now together and carry it into those days. Because we often find that when we show up for meditation collectively, individually, whatever that looks like for you, our spirit gets renewed. Our body gets relaxed and calmed. Our emotions begin to soften just a little. And then there's the ending that comes. And invariably, the world has things in front of us that attempt to undo the softness, the calm, the stillness of our practice. But I'd like these pillars over these next few days to give us more anchors so the world has a much more difficult time undoing the impact of our practice, even on a Monday. So let's just take a couple more slow, deep breaths in and out. There's a quote by the Dalai Lama as he shares these pillars. He says, give the world your love. Give them your availability. Give them your aura. But also give them your joy, because this too is an immense gift. And so the first pillar of joy that he shares with us is the pillar of perspective. Perspective. Not just your point of view or your perspective on a current event or something in our political system or something that's going on in your workplace, but truly the perspective, the lens that you see through. And if you've ever worn glasses, you know that when the glasses are off, your perspective of things change. And then all of a sudden you put the glasses on and your perspective is clearer. It's more realistic. The blurred lines, the distorted images begin to become real. The same thing happens with our practice. It begins to shift our perspective, just like putting on a pair of glasses. But then, like I said, Mondays come. No matter what day of the week it is, Mondays come. And our perspective begins to change, sometimes without our even realizing it. Until we're so far down the line, we look back and we think, how did we get here? And so I would like to use one of the most simplest analogies for us to remind ourselves about perspective. So from where you are seated or lying down in your spot, begin to picture the sun. You're looking up at the big blue sky. It is clear. And you can see that sun on all of its boldness, all of its brightness. Maybe you can even feel the warmth as you look toward it on your face. There's nothing around the sun to get in the way. It just sits right there in its spot, never moving, shining. And what we know from a scientific perspective is that it does that all the time. The shine never stops. It never moves. It's consistent. But now I want you to picture those days that you walk outside and you look up at that blue sky, and all of a sudden these clouds start to float in front of the sun. And that same warmth that you felt on your face now begins to cool off just a little bit. Atmospherically around you, it looks hazier, maybe even a little dark. And you look up and you just think, hurry up, cloud. Move out of the way. I want the sunlight back. But there are times those clouds feel like they don't move at all. And the day gets darker and hazier and less bright. I remember whenever I was living in Denmark, we had a month one winter where for the entire month of November, there were 27 hours of sunlight. 27 hours in a month that has 30 days. And it was common at that level of latitude where we were living, and people had ways of navigating it, because over time, it can cause depression and sadness and gloominess it distorts our perspective. And so the Dalai Lama says if you want to maintain joy, you've got to keep your perspective. If you've ever worn glasses, you know you take them off and you clean them so that the blurriness doesn't come again, so that things are not distorted, but you can see clearly. And so our perspective when it comes to the sun and the clouds needs to be that we know that sun is there. The light is there. It never leaves. It never darkens. There are just things in the way that are changing our perspective of the light. But the Dalai Lama tells us the world needs your joy. It is an immense gift. So how do we maintain it? Even on a Monday, even on a day with clouds. I believe we do that by showing up like we're doing right now, by pausing. Think of this practice as taking off your glasses, getting that cloth, and just cleaning those lenses until there is nothing in the way. So that even as we end our time and the world brings things across our path, our perspective holds. Our clarity is maintained. And so over these next couple of minutes of quiet, what I would invite you to do is see the sun. And then notice what thoughts kind of drift in and try to interrupt or distract. And see those, not that necessarily that they're bad thoughts, but just see those thoughts as a cloud. And just let them drift away, holding your gaze internally on that sunlight. See it as clearly as if you had your eyes open and you were looking up into the big blue sky. Focus there and continue to breathe. As you continue to breathe, finding a little more stillness for just a bit longer. Seeing that sun in your mind's eye, the immovable, never-changing light. Notice how you feel in this moment right here, physically, mentally, emotionally. And then let's just each think to ourselves, how will we navigate the next Monday that comes? Whether it truly is the next day when we wake up or it comes again later in the week. Those days those Monday kind of days that pose challenges for us, that feel like those days I had in Denmark so many years ago of no sunlight for almost the entire month. How do we keep our focus on the light? We start by showing up for ourselves, for our practice, for our stillness, and for the cultivation of our joy. And then when those moments come, because they will, and you see the clouds shift across and cover up the sunlight, metaphorically or physically, we pause. We breathe in deeply and slowly. We close our eyes. We figuratively polish those lenses of our glasses. And after a few breaths, we open our eyes and we start again. Our meditation practice doesn't fill us up to the point that we just go on and on and on until we're at empty. But it puts these little pricks on our spirit that tell us it's time to pause. It's time to go back and shift the perspective to how it is right now. All it takes is the intention to breathe, to pause, and to remember this moment right here. Nurturing that pillar of joy. Because like the Dalai Lama said, it too is an immense gift. As your Monday comes, I wish you joy. And I also wish you perspective. Namaste.